This is Duke University.
Impact investing has many, many forms. In the area that we're most focused on, which is how to bring capital to organizations that, because of their missions, are for various reasons difficult for a conventional investor to support. If we're trying to work with those kinds of organizations where they may have a high degree of originality and innovation, making them very novel and risky as a result, or perhaps serving very, very low-income people, and so their margins are constrained and the returns that they can pay may also be constrained. If we're trying to work with those kinds of organizations, say an affordable housing provider, as I mentioned, or a community-based grassroots arts organization that's doing wonderful things, educational activities for kids, if we want to get to those kinds of groups, often there are just barriers that make them a bridge too far for a conventional investor. And the role of a private foundation in that situation can be to bridge that gap, to provide just enough risk mitigation through a guarantee, or to provide just enough subsidy by accepting a lower than usual return so that we can kind of square the circle and then make it possible for the other money to come in, blend with our money, and then we have a result that works. I don't think impact investing is a fad. I think it has existed in various forms for a long time, before the name was created. And I think there are some pieces of evidence that suggest that it really is something which we might expect to continue and grow in the future. Some of the evidence that's cited is Nielsen research looking at the percentage of consumers that say that they will pay more for a brand that they consider sustainable or good for the planet. The other is that we see more than 70% of women and more than 80% of millennials say they are very interested in investing in a way that is sustainable and aligned with their values. So I think that this is a long-term trend, and I think the real question is what kind of impact investing we're likely to see in the future. I have to say that my biggest wish, and this is really revealing my bias as someone who came from what we call the demand side, from working for nonprofits and in nonprofit and social enterprise settings. Hands down, I just would like to see it be faster and easier for those enterprises to get capital that is tailored to their needs, meaning it's not the cookie cutter bank loan. It is something that recognizes maybe the need for a longer amortization or a lower rate of interest or a little bit of a guarantee, flexibility on the covenants. If it could be easier and faster and more agnostic, because I think there's really a challenge as we have impact investing scaling up, but also increasingly thematic in the way that it's organized. We risk having a very, very fragmented and balkanized marketplace, even more so than we have today. I've worked in the nonprofit sector. I've worked as a social worker directly. I've worked as the CFO in a social welfare agency. I understand firsthand what it means to operate on a slim margin. I understand what the challenges are of operating a small organization and how powerful at the same time its work really can be. I've worked in the private sector, but my clients were governments and the public sector and nonprofits. So that was in public finance and investment banking. But I understand how capital market works, the importance of ratings, what bond insurance is, a whole bunch of things that I think have been incredibly useful to me in the work that I've been doing at MacArthur. So working in the nonprofit sector, working with or in government, I think is essential, and then having a really strong sense of how conventional finance works, how conventional capital markets work. I think all of these things are important. Any of them can be the entry point, but my dream fellowship for a future impact investment player would be that you'd spend time in all of the sectors, that this tripartite experience would then equip you to understand and to see the different points of view and to be able to problem solve more effectively because of it.